الحمد لله إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We give thanks to Almighty Allah who has made it possible for us to come together again to reason together. We ask Almighty Allah to accept it from us as an act of ibadah. We are greeting ourselves with the best of greeting by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, even though I take it to be 22nd of Rabiul Awwal instead of 21, so permit me so that we'll reason together from a verse in this 22nd Juzu, that is Quran chapter 34, verse 43. Quran chapter 34, verse 33. This verse talks about a common response that the people used to give the Prophet of Allah. Whenever the Prophet of Allah called people to 43. Whenever the Prophet of Allah called people to do the right thing, it is part of the ways of people to try to reason with the Prophet along with what they know, especially what their culture tells them. Simply because when we are talking of culture means all the knowledge, value, the activities shared by community. I mean, some people, they will say culture is the totality of human life. So when a prophet comes and is telling them, don't do this, before they agree whether to accept with the prophet or not, they want to know whether their forefathers have told them not to do that thing before. So if it is part of their culture not to do that thing, they will consider it as normal. I don't know whether you are getting me. But if what the prophet is telling them is against what they know or what they used to do, they will believe that no, this one we did not hear it from our forefathers. And as a result of that, they will not want to believe, or they will have problem with that prophet. Now, according to different knowledge that are available, they will say culture means all the knowledge, values, and activities shared by a community. Abi, is that not? For those of us that have done social study, how do you define culture? Abi, the value, the norms, and the rest. They will say that as a culture. And that person says culture is a complex system of shared belief, value, custom, behavior, and material objects that a group of people adopt, learn, and passes down through generations. That thing shapes their way of life. It creates a sense of group cohesion. In most cases, the culture of a community involves both their tangible elements, the food they eat, the clothes they wear, and it also involves some other things that are not tangible. Take for instance, if the culture, there is a culture a particular tribe adopts, maybe in doing marriage. There is a culture a particular tribe adopts in raising children. There is a culture a particular tribe adopts in doing everything, isn't it? We always have that. So that's why they say, okay, when we are talking of culture, we are trying to focus today on Islam and culture. Islam and what? And culture. One thing we need to know first and foremost is that there are basic Islamic principles. Basic Islamic what? Principles. Those basic Islamic principles, there are two. That is Quran and Sunnah. So the position of Islam is that any culture that does not go against the fundamental principle, Islam will not go against it. That is, any culture that will not go against Al-Quran and the Sunnah, Islam has no problem with it. But any culture that goes against Islam, Quran and Sunnah, that is where the problem will come from. Now let's look at this verse. Allah says, "Why is that tutla alayhi wa na'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Why is that tutla alayhi hayatuna? Qalu hadha illa rajulun yuridu an yasuddakum amma kana ya'budu aba'ukum. Wa qalu ma hadha illa ifkum muftara. Wa qala alladhina kafaru al-haqqi lama ja'ahum in hadha illa sihrun mubin."
When our clear signs are rehearsed to them.
Allah said, when our clear signs are rehearsed to them, that is, when a clear verse or judgment or injunction is rehearsed to people,
They say, this is only a man who wishes to hinder you from the worship which your fathers practiced.
they will say this is just a man. That is, person that is reciting it to them, rehearse it. This is just a man that is trying to hinder you from what your fathers used to practice.
And they say,
and they will also say,
this is only a falsehood invented.
This thing that this man is saying is a lie. They see it as a lie because that thing is contradicting their own cultural belief. People hold on to culture that anything against their culture, it's either they say the person bringing it is trying to prevent them from what their father used to practice, or they even say that that thing is a lie. It's not true.
And the unbelievers say of the truth when it comes to them.
And when the truth comes to the unbeliever will say,
this is nothing but evident magic.
This is nothing but an evident magic. This is nothing but what? An evident magic. Now, if you look at that false response, they will say that when a clear verse is rehearsed to them, Allah said they will say what?
This is only a man who wishes to hinder you from the worship which your fathers practice.
This man is just here to hinder you from what your fathers practice. And what did their father practice? That religion is what they get from the culture. I don't know whether you are making sense. It is what they get from their own culture. So by the time a prophet is telling them with clear signs that this is what should be, this is what should not be, then they will say he's trying to prevent them from their own practice. What they call the practice of their own forefather is their culture. And that is what leads us to one thing we need to know about culture, so that we can look at what Islam says about culture. One, there are some things that are characteristics of culture. Among them, there are 5. Among them are these 5. 1, culture is always land. That's the first characteristic. It's always what? Land. The culture is not born. Nobody is born with a particular culture. Abi? But when people come to the world, they will learn it. That is 1. 2, culture is always shared. People will start sharing it among themselves. Then culture is always symbolic. Culture will have something that they will use to symbolize a particular culture. This is usually the language. Almost every culture has a particular language that they speak. Then culture is always integrated because it's connected, and it's always difficult for you to separate people from their culture. Because assuming he's a man, his father, his forefather, great grandfather, this is what they have been doing. So if another person is coming to tell them that this thing is not good, it will become a problem. They'll say, no, we did not find this one from our forefathers.
It's like telling an Ibadan man that Amala and Gbegiri is poison.
It's like telling an Ibadan man that Amala and Gbegiri is poison. You say, how come? Or telling a Fulani man not to take Fura Dinu. You know there will be a problem. That's why we are now going to know that there are cultures that Islam permits and there are some Islam does not permit. Number 5, characteristics of culture is that it's dynamics. At a point in time, by the time another thing comes, people might change to another thing. And the one they change to will now become a culture. Now, we need to know one thing. Culture does not exist without people. Abi? Culture does not exist without what? Without people. Then, how does culture start? It starts from when we have an individual family. From family, we have a society. We have a group. From group, maybe you have a community. From community, you have a tribe. From tribe, you have an ethnic. From ethnic, you have a nation. So, by the time people come together, they will definitely have a particular tribe. They will definitely have a particular culture. So that is how it used to start. Now I'm talking of example of culture. Society way of their food, just as you mentioned, is a type of their own culture. You discover that this set of people here, another set of people in another place, the food these people eat may not be the same way these people eat. What used to cause that is the society they find themselves. If you go to like Ibadan now, a grown man Ibadan man, they are not used to rearing of cow that much. So they may not be used to taking of fura they know. I don't know that you are getting it. Then if you go to the north now, they are not used to planting cassava and yam. So they can't eat amala. So when you have a society, their type of food is part of their culture. Their mode of dressing is part of culture. Their mode of greetings is part of their culture. How they conduct their marriages is part of culture. How they do their burial is part of culture. Their system of government is part of. So we now discover that culture carries everything. Now, let's now ask ourselves, who is the maker of all nations and tribes? Because it is from tribe and nation that culture starts. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Now, Allah created all of us, no doubt about that. And it is the same Allah that now divided us into tribes and nations. Quran chapter 49, verse 13. For us to know that a black man is found as a black man is not without the knowledge of Allah. A white man finds himself to be a white man not without the knowledge of Allah. Somebody who happens to be an Igbo person find himself to be an Igbo not without the knowledge of Allah. The same thing with an Hausa man or an Igbo man or anybody. Everybody find him or herself the way Allah wants it. Allah said, Ya ayyuhan nas, inna alaknakum min zakarin wa unsa, wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qaba'ila lita'arafu. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum, inna Allah alimun khabir. What did Allah say?
O mankind.
Allah said, O mankind.
He created you from a single pair of a male and a female.
Allah said, He is the one that created us from a single pair of male and female. That one is showing that it's Allah that created us. Abi? From Adam and Eve. No two ways about that. Now, what did Allah say?
I made you into nations and tribes.
I said, Allah said, and He now made you people into nations and tribes.
That you may know each other.
So that you people can know each other. Allah made us into nations and tribes, so that we may know each other. So that if you see an Igbo man, you can say that, oh, this one is an Igbo man. If you see a Yoruba man, you can say this is a Yoruba man. If you see an Hausa man, you say this is an Hausa man. If you see a Fulani man, one can say this is a Fulani man. So it's Allah that made it like that. We did not just come into this world without being that Allah created us. Fine. After Allah created us, it is still Allah that's now made us into nation and tribes. It's Allah that make us into nation, into tribe, into ethnic, and into everything. Yes.
Not that you may despise each other.
Allah said, not that you may despise each other. It's not that He made you so that you despise each other.
Verily,
Allah said, verily,
the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is He who is the most righteous of you.
the most honor among you people in the sight of Allah, despite that Allah created us and He made us into nation and tribe, is who is righteous. So it means that being a Yoruba man is not so important to Allah than being an Arab man, or being an Arab man is not that important to Allah than being an Igbo man. What is important to Allah is any one of us, any tribe we might come from, how righteous are we to Him? Is that not what Allah said? That the most honor before Him is that person the most righteous.
Yes. Allah has full knowledge and is well acquainted with all things.
Allah has full knowledge and is well acquainted with all what we are doing. So if you now look at this, it means that Allah created us. Then directly or indirectly, it is still Allah that made us into tribes, ethnics, and nation. Now, then from there, it means that when you are having somebody who is a Yoruba man, carrying his Yoruba culture, directly or indirectly, is Allah's making. When you have an Igbo man with an Igbo culture, directly or indirectly, is Allah's making. Then when you enter anyone, then we now go at international level, and we have an Arab man with his own Arabian culture. He's still making of Allah. We have a Ghanaian with a Ghanaian culture and the rest. So it means that the whole of this culture too that came into being, the tribe, the ethnic, is Allah doing. Now, the bottom line is this. Everybody, Allah has created into tribe and nations so that we will know one another. And He has said that the most honorable before Him is that person who is what? Who is more righteous. So it's righteousness that Allah is after. But the issue now is this. Part of the culture that every tribe carry, we now have what they call their own material culture, and we have non-material culture. Islam is mainly about non-material culture. What Islam is after is about the non-material culture of every tribe. When we are talking of material culture, there are things that we can see. The kind of food a particular culture eats, the kind of clothes they wear, the kind of houses they build, the kind of hats they create, and such, and such, and such. That one, they are material culture. Allah is concerned, Islam is concerned about it, but not in the real sense. When it comes to non-material culture, that is one Islam is mainly all about. For example, non-material culture, there are things that we cannot see, like the beliefs of a particular culture, their values, their customs, then in extension to their religion. Because people come together as a culture, having their own culture. That's why they have their own type of food. That's why they have their own type of clothes. And that is what, in most cases, lead them to having their own types of religion. If you now look at that fast we are talking about, because these people, they have their own type of religion. That is why whenever Allah sends a messenger or a prophet to people, people will be confused that we did not hear this one from what? From our forefathers. How come you are coming to tell us about this? So that non-material culture that has to do with the religion is the most important thing that Islam is all about. And that is why a Yoruba man that will build his house the way he built it, Islam will not say it is haram, except if there is any particular part that Islam says should not be like that. Or a Fulani man that will be in the bush, I will just build an hut. Abi? Is that, they call it hut, Abi? Islam will not say anything. But all those ones, they are material culture. But the one that is non-material, they are the one that the Islam is all about. What do you people believe? Then from there, we now look at it. If that thing is in line with Islamic belief, then there's no problem. But as long as it is not in line with Islamic belief, that is when the problem will set in. So most of the prophets that Allah has sent, the majority of them, where they have problem with their people, is on that non-material culture, especially related to their religious practices. And they will feel like this is what our forefathers have been doing. How come somebody will come now and tell us that this thing is not correct? This is the way we conduct our things. How come somebody will tell us now that this thing is not correct? Now, let's read that verse again. Quran chapter 34, verse 33. We will now see that this thing cut across many verses of the Quran. Allah said, "Why is that tutla alayhim hayatuna?" When our verses are being rehearsed unto them, qalu, they will say, "Ma haza illa rajulun yuridu an yasuddakum amma kana ya'budu aba'ukum." Who is this person reciting this? It's just a man, but he's trying to send us away from what our forefathers used to do. Now, let's look at that one first. If you look at this thing, it's a form of personality attack. Abi? They say when our verses are being rehearsed unto them, definitely somebody will rehearse the verse. The bone of contention is what is rehearsing to them, not the person that is reciting the verse. Instead of them to look into the verses, Abi, reason with it, they shift the topic from the verses. They shift it to what? To the person, to the personality, to try to blackmail the person. Instead of them to look at what the person is saying, rather they want to attack the person. This thing has been a common thing over the years, and it's still happening now, and it will continue to happen till tomorrow. Human beings like personality attack. When an issue is there, instead of them to reason and discuss the issue, they will start discussing personality. And that is one of the problems we are having almost all over the world. Take for instance, Nigeria as a case study. Assuming we have a president, let's say, who is an Igbo man, and he's doing right, he's doing everything right. He's trying his best. Not everything cannot be right, but he's trying his best. You now discover that when a Yoruba man wants to talk about him, instead of looking at what the person is doing, I don't know whether I'm making sense, he will not address the issue. Even if the person is doing well, he will say the person is not doing well. Not because of that the person is not doing well, but because the person is an Igbo man, not from his tribe. The same thing is applicable to other tribes. That was just as an example. You now discover that if somebody is from a particular tribe, even if he's doing the worst, his people will keep on saying you are doing the best.
You are doing borehole, not well.
You are doing borehole, not even well. So you now discover that they are shifting issue in most cases. They will shift discussion from the issues to personality. So that is the same thing many people used to do to the prophet. Let's read that verse again so that we get what I'm trying to pull out there. Allah said, when our verses, our clear verses,
are rehearsed to them,
they said,
this is only a man who wishes to hinder you from the worship which your fathers practice.
Now, this is only a man who tried to hinder you from what your forefathers worship. After they attack the man first, they now come back to the issue.
And
And they say,
this is only a falsehood invented.
this is only a falsehood invented. And the
unbelievers say of the truth.
When they see the truth, they'll say,
when it comes to them,
they'll come to them,
this is nothing but evident magic.
They'll say this is nothing but an evident magic. Now let's go to Quran chapter 5, verse 104. Why we are bringing all this one is just for us to look at how people can be so stiff when it's come to believing in their culture. How people can be so stiff that even if you are telling them this is what Allah says, this is what the Prophet said, many people really want to stay only to what they found their forefathers doing. And there is nothing they found their forefathers doing which is nothing but just their own culture. Allah says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَإِلَى الرَّسُولِ قَالُوا حَسْبُنَا مَا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. What does Allah say?
When it is said to them,
Allah said, when it is said to them,
come to what Allah has revealed.
You people should come to what Allah has revealed.
Come to the messenger.
Then come to the messenger.
They say,
their response will be, they will say,
enough for us are the ways we found our fathers following.
Enough for us is the ways we found our fathers following.
What even though their fathers were void of knowledge and guidance? Allah
said, what even though their fathers, they are void of knowledge and guidance? You can see the problem with cultural belief. Allah said, when it is said to them, come to what Allah has revealed on a particular thing you are discussing, let's look at it based on what Allah has revealed. Wa ila Rasul, or what the messenger brought to us. They will say, enough for us is what we find the ways of our fathers. That is the culture. They will say, enough for us the way we find our fathers doing. Allah said, what of
even though their fathers were void of knowledge,
even if their fathers they lack knowledge and guidance, would they still stand by the culture or what they found their forefathers doing? This is the problem with cultural belief. And the examples are so numerous. Let's also look at Quran chapter 31, verse 21. If you look at that verse too, in Surah Al-Luqman, Quran chapter 31, verse 21, it is also like that. Allah says, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوَلَوْ كَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ يَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَى أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ.
When they are told to follow the revelation that Allah has sent down.
When they are told to follow the revelation that Allah has sent down.
They said, Nay.
No.
We shall follow the ways that we found our fathers following.
We shall follow the ways we found our fathers following. And what we have explained, the ways they found their fathers following is nothing but their own cultural, religious practices. So they don't want to know whether it's okay or it's not okay.
What?
Allah said, what is this you are saying?
If it is Satan beckoning them to the penalty of the blazing fire.
So you see, follow the ways of your forefathers. You see, stay to that cultural, religious practice. Even if Shaitan is leading you people to fire, it's just like when we were young, like that, when we were small. If somebody do something bad, then why did you do this thing? The person will now say that it's also person that asked me to do it. Abi? It's a common thing. They say it's also person that asked me to do it. They will not tell us that because Shaitan will not call anybody to anything except fire. That's what Allah is saying, that even if it is Shaitan that is calling them, inviting them to fire. Abi? That time they will tell you that if this person has to do it, if he asks you to put your hand in air fire, are you going to put your hand in fire? We will not do that. So it's not enough for us to base anything we want to do on our own culture. Okay? This is how we used to do our things. So rather, we should try and go back to what was revealed to us. We should not say, this is the way we find our father doing something, and this is the way we must be doing this. Help us recite that fast again.
When they are told to follow the revelation,
when they are told to follow the revelation that Allah has sent down, they will say,
Nay,
no.
We shall follow the ways that we find our fathers following.
The way our fathers are doing things, that's what we are going to do it.
What?
Allah is saying what?
Even if it is Satan.
Quran is saying what?
Even if it is Shaitan beckoning them to the penalty of the blazing.
So even if it is Shaitan that is indirectly calling them to punishment of hellfire, they will still follow the way of their forefathers. So it means that when it's come to Islam and culture, we should know how we marry the two together. Then how do we do it? The first thing we need to know is that as a Muslim, there is Islamic culture and there are Muslim cultures. So the Islamic culture that Islam brought for us is what we need to take as our own culture, as long as we are Muslims. But that doesn't mean that any other culture of our tribes, of our ethnic, will throw them away. No. What we need to do is that we need something to measure. That's why Islam, they say, is a filter of cultural beliefs. It's what? A filter. We all know filter. You know, when you have maybe garina or elbow, you know, inside it, there is garida with. I mean, it's not impossible we have sand. It's not impossible we have stone. It's not impossible we can even have something that can be deadly. It can even be that, although that one I don't know how we can sieve it. Well, maybe when we want to cook it. It can even be that where we are spreading it, goat don't urinate on it. Abi? You know, if you are traveling like that on a long journey, you will see by the side they will put gari, elubo, they will put beans and so many things. And you will see goat eating part of them. You will even see some of them, they will even urinate there. But it's still gari. But we need a filter before eating it to sieve it, so that we'll be able to remove the stone, remove the sand,
the
impurities generally inside them before we consume it. So that's why Islam is a filter for cultural religious beliefs. So by the time we now filter it based on the principle of Islam, that is Quran and Sunnah, then from there we can now say that this one is acceptable, this one is not acceptable. For example now, if a Yoruba man should wear adire, abi, and ashoke, some of us know it, some of us may not know it. It is the culture of a Yoruba man to wear it. That one is also a material culture. It's a material one that we can see physically. So does Islam say we should not wear it? No. I don't know why I mean, Islam is not saying you should not wear that one. It's part of the culture of that tribe, but Islam permits it. The only thing where Islam may now come in to say no is this. Maybe let's say for example the trousers. Because there's another hadith that said that you should not be mashing it. Abi? Or you should not go beyond your ankle. So the cloth itself will not be around in Islam. Islam has sieved it. So what can be around in part of it may just be that by the time you make it to pass the ankle. Or Hausa man nana go and wear babariga. Even if an Arab man would not wear babariga, they may not know what is babariga. So that babariga that an Hausa man will wear, even though a Yoruba man will also wear with agbada, will not be around. But or an Igbo man that will wear this their cap and happen to be a Muslim that will be red with something on it, Islam will not say no to it. It's part of their culture, but Islam sees it is acceptable. But inside what Islam has seen that's acceptable, there may be another thing that may make that thing to be haram. So those are the things we need to look at anytime we are talking of any culture. So, but most importantly, just as Allah said, How do we now honor ourselves with righteousness without cultural things is what matters. Marriage, for example, now, Islamically, is what we have to do. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, marriage is one of my ways. Whosoever refuse to marry is not of me. Abi? He said, "Anikah min sunnati, faman falaysa minni." But now, Islam has civics how to do the marriage. So, if a particular tribe is doing their own marriage in one way, another one is doing it in another way, that their ways of marriage may not be the problem. But inside it, there will be another thing that will be wrong. An Hausa woman now, if you want to marry an Hausa woman, for example, they will say you should bring lefe. You go and buy buses. You buy plenty. You chop your money. Chop. Now, that one will not be a problem. Where the problem will be is that by the time the thing is beyond the capacity of the man, and they are still pressing him that if you don't do this, you will not get married. You will not give your daughter. Meanwhile, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that when you see a man that you are good, you are comfortable with his religion, and with his what? With his character, it's better for you to give your daughter to him in marriage. But that doesn't mean the man will not have something to take care of the wife. So that one too will be there. So, but at the same time, that culture now, there may be some other things that will be wrong in it. So what we are saying is that every culture, what Islam is trying to do is to filter their ways of doing things. So wherever we have a clear verses that Islam said this is not supposed to be, then we leave it. We should not put our culture over the Islamic verses. Take for instance now, the burial rites. Even though some of us, we are used to it before, that if somebody died today, it's either we'll do 80 days, Abi no be so. Then sometimes they will say 41 days. We are even used to
like us 3 days. Sometimes like us 3 days.
Sometimes like us 3 days. But
3 days is the standard.
Is it even the standard? Because it's even debated. Because when they started looking at it, discovered that 41 days, no evidence. The 8 days, no evidence. The only one they have evidence close to is the 3 days, and that one self is not clear. And if you look at this one, where a clear verses, but it becomes difficult to erase because that is the ways of our fathers. Take for instance, in some culture today, in fact, it used to baffle me because it's what I have seen recently. This is a man that the man is like he suffered till he died. Because the children, they have to go and abandon him in his house that the man was building that has not completed, saying they cannot pay the house rent in Lagos. But when the man died, if you see the party they threw, we couldn't believe that. Is it the same people that were saying they could not pay rent? Within 3 days, what a mashup, they have gotten Anko, Ashwebi, and the money they spent. So I was now trying to talk to one of them, say, no, that's the way we do it. Because this was somebody that, let's say like a month before the death of the dad, was complaining he doesn't have money. That the money we even used to buy drug for this dad now, we don't know where I'm going to get it. So Allah will provide. But when the man died, if the money to buy drug that was complained for a month before, if it is 10,000, the money they spent for that burial within that 8 days will be more than 1 million. So I now call him after. I said, see. They didn't want me to know, as if they know that maybe I'll complain. But unfortunately, one of the children is on my own WhatsApp group. So the status, that is where I saw everything. So when I now later called him, I said, but you know, that's the culture in Yoruba land. If we don't do like that now, they will say that the man does not have good children that are surviving. It's not impossible 5 months, 6 months after, they will still be paying the debt. Abi? They may still be paying the debt of that thing. But if you look at the way Islam just said it, it's very simple. The person has died, is dead, bury him, give him the final rites, worship, perform ghusl for him, take him to, then you keep praying for him. Wherever anybody is, just pray. Then any form of sadaqah that you can do, then you do on behalf of that person. We'll keep on to improve from all cultures. But when it's come to some things, some cultures are improving than the others. When our late president died, Buhari, we are not having discussions. We are not saying that, see how they just buried that man. That they just bury him like that. After that, 3 days, 7 days, 8 days, 41 days, nothing. I don't think we can have a president from other part of the country that will die like that. Then they will say the people will not have days that they will dance, drink, and sell it. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. They will do the burial.
No, they will not even do the burial on time. It has to. The national burial. It has to stay in the morgue.
You stay
for like days.
They start,
They start planning.
Planning committee, this committee, that committee. So it's not impossible. Maybe over the years they were used to that kind of thing before, but Islam has come, so it will filter it. So it has to filter it. So, but anyone that Islam is not talking about, it's not a problem. Like for me to eat amala now, if that is my culture, with gbegiri and ewedu, as far as it is not part of the haram.
As far as dog meat is not there.
As far as dog meat is not there, pork is not there, then I will eat. But when the dog or pork is there, or I'm taking it with Pami, or I take it with Don Simon, you understand? That Don Simon, me, I didn't know it's alcohol. Sincerely. You know it? How will you know it? Don Simon, me, I don't know. So somebody was taking it. So me, I take it to be like all these exotic. You know the like cream. But you know that one is just like this 5 alive. So I thought it's the same thing. That probably is an expensive one. Okay. So the person beside me happened to be my oga, was taking it. But later the way he was just talking. He was just talking. You know, we are on a joint. Like, we were just talking. So I was like. So when we now almost reach where we are going, we stop maybe to get 1 or 2 things. Another colleague was now telling me that Oga don high. I was like, high like I said, me I did not see what he was taking. I said, that one, is it not just like juice? He said, no, it's not juice. So I said, I was almost saying if I get cup, you give. I said, it's not juice. Me, I just take it like it's normal thing. You know the way it is packaged. Seriously, I took it just like all this fruit juice, exotic, 5 alive, chipita, and the rest. So what are we saying is that as far as all those things they are not there, then there will not be any problem. But where Islam put a stop, we put a stop. Where Islam put a comma, we put a comma. Then we should be careful of people that want to ascribe some things that is Islamic to a particular tribe. Some things are Islamic, but you have some scholars, so to say, they will now try to tell us that that is not Islamic, but it's Arabian culture. For example, hijab. I don't know whether you are getting my point. I will try and explain myself clearly. Now, what Islam says, when I'm taking hijab, it's just like a veil, cover. Then Islam extends it to say, what should it be covered? We all know the hadith where Prophet Muhammad sallam, said that one day, I think it's Abu Bakr that sent Aisha, to the Prophet. Then Prophet now said, you are becoming a big girl. When you are becoming a big girl like this, you have to cover your body, except here and here. We remember that hadith, but now the Prophet now pointed to the face and the wrist. You see the hand?
The wrist.
The wrist. The palm, let's put it like that accepts this. Fine. Before the coming of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we had it that even when he was in Mecca, that Kaaba has been there. Sometimes, even if some unbelievers, they used to come and do their own tawaf, and the whole of that place is filled with idols. Some of them will even do tawaf in nakedness. Isn't it? Now, it was after Islam, through the Prophet Muhammad, that said, okay, you should cover this, you should cover this, you should cover this, you should cover this. Then a grown-up lady should cover this, cover this, cover this. Now, it's not necessary that it must be the way our hijab is that will cover it. But if you have anything that will cover it like that, it's fine. But if you look at other things that can cover it, the way this our hijab will cover it, it will be difficult. I don't know whether you are getting what I'm saying. So for someone to now say that hijab is not Islamic, but it's Arabian culture, the person is missing it. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Because if you look at it very well, this one is the way that the thing will cover the body the way it should be covered. Fine, we have little argument concerning the feet. But if you look at it, it's still better if somebody can even cover it as well, especially for a female. Even though that is, specifically the Prophet did not mention the feet, but arm and is mentioned. Okay, now when we have ruling of Islam, the scholar will even go further to do the analysis. Okay, then what is the object, the intention of this thing that the Prophet said? Then from there they'll be able to say, okay, this may be permissible, this may not be permissible. Where I'm heading to is that there are some things that are good in some culture that Islam permits. We should not limit them to say that that one is just the culture of a particular tribe. Look at that burial something we are talking about. When we are trying to explain to that person, say, okay, for example, assuming your dad died, how are you going to do that? Sir, you just go and bury the person. Then you say, no, that one is Hausa culture. I don't know what I get to say. The person will say, no, it is the Hausa culture. I said, no, it's not the Hausa culture. It's Islamic culture. So sometimes people don't really know the difference between a particular tribe culture and the Islamic culture. So wherever it cuts across, and anything it cuts across, we need to understand that and be following it the way it's supposed to be followed. If you look at the way some people conduct marriages now, you look at for example, someone be saying that if you a particular tribe in this country that the person can even be at 30, 40, 50. Somebody will be saying that until they get a house. I don't know whether you have had it before, that in most of our own tribe, if we don't have a house, even here or in the village, we cannot get married. Why do you need to build a house before you get married? And it is their own culture. Some of them is like their own culture to be like that. But we need to use Islam as a filter to filter all those cultures. It's not only that, even the way we do our naming ceremony, there may be some things that is a particular culture. We have some culture that they will say that if you born your firstborn, you must come and do the naming ceremony in your father's house. Abi? Now, if you look at that one ordinarily, it's not going against any Islamic principle of Quran and Sunnah. So that one can say, okay, if that is their culture, no problem. Or in some culture, the only thing you do is that on the naming ceremony, you just get the abidu and sweet. Abi? And As-salatu Goma. Then everybody don't do. Then you tell the imam to bring the name of the child. You don't born a child today, Abrahamon, Chikena. But what matters now is that if the means is there, based on Islam, we have to slaughter a ram. If it is for a male, 2. If it is for female, 1. That one now is the Islamic culture. So if you don't see anybody doing it, be it Igbera man, an Igbo man, or an Hausa man or Igbo man, don't say that person is practicing the Hausa culture. or is practicing the Arabian culture. No, it's Islamic culture. Look at Jalabia. If you look at Jalabia very well, it's not Islamic culture. It's an Arabian culture. Jalabia, wearing of Jalabia, is not an Islamic culture. It's an Arabian culture. But it's an Arabian culture that Islam has not come to condemn. Just like Babariga. Although there was one small argument on that Babariga, but in the real sense, it's still not okay. It's still acceptable when I look at it. Some people said wearing of Babariga is like it's rough. Extravagance. They say how? They say why? Well, okay. Somebody has wear trouser. He has worn the kaftan. You now have to go and wear the big Babariga. That one alone is enough for another person to sew. So if you look at it that, and Islam said we should not be extravagant, wala tusrifu. Okay, it may seem, but if you still look at it, it's different from when Islam or the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu has given a direct injunction that has violated that, okay, when you are wearing clothes, don't do this. So we need to be able to separate all these things. So when we have a particular culture, understand the culture, the one that Islam permits, we allow it. The one that Islam said no, we leave it not to go. So, and it cuts across every aspect of life. Finally, because of time, one thing with culture is this: people that are so adherent to culture, sometimes, if one is telling them that, especially when it's come to religious practices, that this particular thing is not good, they don't even mind killing that person. They don't mind what? Killing the person. So to ensure that their culture survive. Anybody that will come and tell them anything against what their culture is, they are ready to kill the person. And this is what has happened to most of the prophets. Let's just read one or two verses, then we can continue another time, because there are other issues. Let's look at the case of Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wasalam. Quran chapter 21, verse 51 to 53. Quran chapter 21, verse 51 to 53. We all know the story of Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wasalam, when Allah gave him the guidance right from when he was a boy. Right from when he was a boy. But he found his people worshipping idols. And when he asked them, why are you people worshipping these idols? They said that's how we find our forefathers doing it. It's our cultural religious practices. And they believe that that is how they should be doing it. Now, where are we heading to? When the arguments between him and them was so tense, at a point in time, we all know what he did to the idols, but they too, they didn't mind killing him, and that's why he was even thrown into fire. Allah said, Allah qad atayna Ibrahim rushdahu min qabl wa kunna bihi alimin. Isqala li abi wa qawmi ma hazihi tamasil allati antum laha aqifun qalu wajadna abahana laha abidin. قال لقد كنتم أنتم وآباؤكم في ضلال مبين قالوا أجئتنا بالحق أم أنت من اللاعبين قال بل ربكم رب السماوات والأرض التي فطرهن وأنا على ذلكم من الشاهدين وتالله لأكيدن أصنامكم بعد أن تولوا مدبرين فجعلهم جزاء إلا كبيرا لهم لعلهم إليه يرجعون قالوا من فعل هذا بآلهتنا إنه لمن الظالمين قالوا سمينا فتى يذكر يقال له إبراهيم قال فاتوا به على أعين الناس لعلهم يشهدون قالوا أنت فعلت هذا بآلهتنا يا إبراهيم قال بل فعله كبيرهم هذا فاسألوا إن كانوا ينطقون فرجع إلى أنفسهم فقالوا إنكم أنتم ظالمون ثم نكسوا على رؤوسهم لقد علمت ما هؤلاء ينطقون. أريد مني قال فتعبدون من دون الله ما لا ينفعكم شيئا ولا يضرون أف لكم ولما تعبدون من دون الله أفلا تعقلون إلى آخره. Let's read the meaning sharp so that we can move.
We bestowed aforetime on Abraham
Allah said we have given beforehand on Abraham
his rectitude of conduct.
His rectitude of conduct, how to behave well. Allah said we are giving to Ibrahim.
And well were we acquainted with him.
And we are all acquainted with him.
Behold, he said to his father and his people.
He said to his father and his people.
What are these images to which ye are so assiduously devoted?
What are these images? You know, they have images. The images of these idols. He said, what are these idols that people are devoted to worshiping?
They said,
we
found our fathers worshiping them.
We found our fathers was worshiping them.
He said, indeed.
Now, you see, their response is not any everything that we find our father's culture is our culture. It's our culture to worship these things. So they don't see it as anything bad. They are not using the standard to sieve it. Yes?
He said
to them,
indeed, ye have been in manifest error, ye and your fathers.
He was addressing them, and that your fathers, that you found them worshiping this, you are all in manifest error. They said to him,
have you brought us the truth, or are you one of those who jest?
They are asking Ibrahim, have you brought us the truth, or just making jest of us?
He said, nay, your Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth.
He said, the Lord you have is only one Lord, that is the Lord of the heaven and the earth.
He who created them from nothing, and is a witness to this truth.
Is the one that created everybody from nothing. He said, him is a witness to this fact.
And by Allah,
he said, by Allah,
I have a plan for your idols.
All these your idols, I have a plan for them.
After you go away and turn your backs.
After you people have gone away and turned your backs. We all know that story that they will go at the back to go and worship something. They left their idols, whom they worship as another god.
So he broke them to pieces.
So he broke them into pieces.
But the highest of them.
He now leave the biggest, the highest of them.
That
he left
they
down.
might turn and address themselves to him.
So that when they come, they will see that one and talk to him.
They said, who has done this to our gods?
Yes.
He must indeed be some man of impiety.
Who is this one that has done this to our God? He must be a very bad person. He doesn't have piety.
They said, we heard a youth talk of them. He is called Abraham.
They said it's like we used one youth. That's why they say he was still very small. Because they themselves, they call him youth. They will say one boy. He's one that always talk bad about this our idols.
He is called Abraham.
His name is one Ibrahim like that.
They said,
then
bring him before the eyes of the people.
Oh yeah, let's gather. Go and bring him before the eyes of people.
That they may bear witness.
So that we'll see, let's give him fair hearing. Let's witness what he has to say.
They said, thou the one that did this with our gods, O Abraham?
You Abraham, are you the one that do this thing with our gods?
He said, nay.
He said, no.
This was done this is their biggest one.
So you can see one of them that is the biggest standing.
Ask them.
All the others, they are down. This is what you worship. In the tafsir, they say the axe he used, he put it on the neck of that one. Let that one be standing. All the remaining one, destroy.
Ask them if they can speak intelligently.
He said that ask this thing now, if they can speak intelligently.
So they turned to themselves and said.
So they now turned to themselves and said,
surely ye are the ones in the wrong.
They are the one in the wrong. Oh.
Then were they confounded with shame?
They were confounded with shame because they look at it themselves that this thing cannot talk truly.
They said, thou knowest full well that these idols do not speak.
We all know that these idols cannot speak. Why should this boy be intelligently asking us to go back and go and ask the biggest one?
Ibrahim said, will you then worship beside Allah things that can neither be of any good to you nor do you harm? So
you people now, this is your cultural religious practice. This thing now that cannot even save himself while I was cutting it. Even this big girl this thing cannot do harm for you, cannot do any benefit for you.
Upon you and upon the things that you worship beside Allah, have you no sense?
You people don't have sense. So shame on you and what you worship outside Allah.
They said,
burn
him and protect your gods.
That's what I'm going to.
If you do anything.
People that are addicted to a cultural religious practice, anybody trying to bring them out of it, they don't mind killing the person. They say burn him burn him.
And protect your God.
Then protect your God. Look at what they are saying. That if we are to protect our God, then we have to kill Ibrahim. Now, if they can reason, by merely asking them to ask the biggest one, they could have known that then that means this thing should not be God. You know, there is difference between having things and to be reason. In most cases, it's reason that people don't have. They cannot just think. Is it your God that's supposed to protect you, or you are the one to kill a boy in order to protect your own God? Continue, sir.
We said,
O fire. After they have thrown him to fire, Allah said, O fire,
be thou cool.
Be cool.
And a means of safety for Abraham.
And be of safety to Ibrahim.
Then they sought a strategy against him.
They sought a strategy against him.
But we made them the ones that lost.
We made them to be the worst losers. The Almighty Allah that save Ibrahim, save Allah first too. So we keep on to address issues that has to do with wrong religious, cultural practices. So and we pray that Allah will continue to save us. Because of time, let's stop here. Whatever I've said correctly, from Almighty Allah, may Allah accept it from us as a means of ibadah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi. What are we saying? We are saying that people use culture to judge things, but as Muslims, we should know what are the Muslim cultures and what are the Islamic cultures. Then we should be able to judge it. May Almighty Allah guide us. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة اللهم اغفر لنا من خشيتك ومن معصيتك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا بها جنتك ومن اليقين ما تعلم في الدنيا واتنا بأسمائنا وأبصارنا وأسماعنا ما أحييتنا واجعل وارث منا ويسر على من صلى وانصرنا على من عادانا ولا تفتن في ديننا ولا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا تسلط علينا من لا يخافك ولا يرحمنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. We thank Almighty Allah for this session. May Almighty Allah reward our lecturers and we also that have listened. May Allah make it best understood that it has been presented. May Almighty Allah reward all of us. And only this when the last continues. In some few minutes, 5-10 minutes, we want to entertain questions, contributions. So if we have any contribution or question, let us do it quickly so that we can do it. Question? Alaikum salam.